What it's like from a player's perspective when you have coaches fired in the middle of the season. I experienced this in 2014 when Dennis Allen was fired after week 4 in London after we lost to the Miami Dolphins. And that's a little bit of a different situation than the Raiders are in right now, having let go of positional coaches and offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, but Antonio Pierce is still in place. It's a bigger shift, I'd say, from the team dynamic when you have a new head coach. So we had Tony Sperano, rest his soul, come in as our interim head coach. And he just has a very different demeanor. And I've said this before, but a football team is an extension of their head coach and kind of the energy and the demeanor that they bring. And he was much more stoic. I remember always thinking that Tony Sperano hated me because he never said a word to me. Literally, I mean, he'd nod here and there, or just, let me go in line before him or something, but like never said anything until he became our coach. And I finally was able to talk to him. And I found out he had reworked all of our lockers and put us all in different places. And he said, in one of the team meetings, he said, I moved some of you for good reasons, and some of you because for reasons that I don't want you around other guys or whatever it was. He said, if you want to know the reason, you come to my office and I'll tell you face to face. I remember thinking, well, shoot, he moved my locker. I want to know what's going on here. And and so you're kind of thinking the worst, like he's going to say something bad. But anyways, he had just told me, hey, you're a good character guy. You're a good leader. You lead by example. You come in here, you work your butt off every day, and I wanted you around some guys I thought needed that. So there's good and bad. Generally, the feeling from an overall general player perspective when you have coaches fired in the middle of the season is not good. It's not positive because it means you're getting your butt kicked. And either, people are trying to save face and fire other people. And I'm not speaking into the Raiders situation on that. Or it's just you're trying something new. I don't know. I'm not the person to be able to tell you about the background of all the different coaches and why they fit well in our scheme and with our personnel and if I think it's going to be great or not. One thing I can tell you is that if they are able to come in and do something different in a good way, if they're able to come in and run the ball, for example, when we haven't been able to run the ball all season with the same personnel, with the same players, it was a coaching thing. It was a coaching problem, a play calling problem, whatever it is, scheme problem, how they're running and calling the plays. If they're able to do that right now, right away, stepping in without an off season, and just on the fly, be able to do that, it means, it was a coaching problem that we weren't able to take best advantage of the talent that we have in our organization at the moment. That was a sidebar though. Generally, when you suffer with somebody, you connect with them to a greater level. If you run a marathon with somebody, shared experience, especially when there's suffering involved, like a contact sport like football, creates a tighter bond. And so if your coach is let go, they're going to have to bring a new coach in. And there is a little bit of that, sussing each other out. Like, how is he going to be? Is it, what's he really think of me? And how's he going to break down film? You don't know until they're in that position of authority. And there is an authoritative, hierarchical leadership shift when you have new coaches. You get to see who somebody really is when you put them up here. But even if you didn't see eye to eye with those coaches and you didn't like them and they weren't playing, or whatever the case was, if you're at least a general, decent human being, you're going to have some sort of empathy and feel a little bit bad for him because I know how hard the NFL is, and this is this guy's livelihood. This is his dream. Let's be honest. People don't fall back on an NFL career. It's not like it was my plan B, and it's a dream job. It takes a lot of sacrifice and dedication and years of from a coaching perspective, just being on the bottom of the totem pole and doing dirty work and getting your way up there, getting coffees and doing, just setting up all the bag drills in the off season, being a GA, all those things. It's for the love of the game. And so this person lost their dream, really. And if you, there's some compassion that goes into that. You feel bad for them for their livelihood and for those reasons, and they got a family, and it's kind of like being a military brat. If you're the kid of a coach, I mean, there's no security. You're bouncing over to all over the United States, all throughout your career. It's very rare that a coach has a stable position in one place for a long period of time, especially in the NFL. There is an adjustment, but there's a little bit of like maybe in a team meeting they might want to talk about things, but generally, especially if it's a turnover of a head coach, it's like, hey, here's how we're going to do things. Or not, you're kind of resetting culture as quick as you can without disrupting the other things that have to get done. Like, you have to get in your positional meetings, you have to go over the game plan for the week. Nothing stops, and so even though this is a bye week for a lot of people, this is going to be a very busy week, because I would imagine bringing in, the Turners, and they're going to do things differently, but you can't just change and teach an entire new playbook. They're going to have to work with the language and the calls that they already have in place, and, add certain things strategically in the week, like you always add, a couple plays each week, depending on who you're playing. But they got to work with the system that's already in place, so you don't make it terribly hard on your players mentally. You want them to go out there and just play ball. But if they're able to call things in a way that tees them up well, that's a good thing. And they're going to be very busy this entire bye week, because there's still going to be things that they need to be on the same page on. Like, hey, here's how I'm calling the game. Here's how I'm thinking about the game. We're going to have these guys and this personnel, and we're going to usually call this on these third downs, or whatever the case may be. And so, yeah, I mean, from a player's perspective, it sucks, but you got to move on. It's business to be had, and you have to be professional, and it's even busier because now you have to sync up with new people, a new system, new ways of going about things, new mindsets, new leadership. It's a lot of adjustment on the fly. And so I'm hoping that the Raiders can really do this in a great way to handle the transition well, especially on this bye week. And hopefully it gives them a little bit of a lift too, where it's like, all right, we got some new coaches. Maybe they will tee us up better, because I know that I'm better than this. All the players know that they're better than this. It's not like we have nobody in the NFL is bad, especially if you're a starter. We got good guys out there. You just got to be put in the right positions for the specific skill sets that are on that team. Rambling today. I'm a rambling man. Haven't been sleeping much, but I'm out here trying to get these videos out to you, give you my thoughts, because that's what you seem to want. And I'm Raider Nation for life. All my career in one place makes it easy for me. No divided loyalties. Silver and black.